This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
Kase, I cannot believe what just happened when we drag raced 3 of the latest and the most powerful turbo diesel heavy-duty pickup trucks.
That's right, because today we have in this video a quarter-mile drag race, a 30-mile-per-hour rolling race, and just for fun, we threw in a test of stopping distances. And I would say for all 3, we did not really see what we were expecting.
Yes, we could show you all the data, 0 to 60 is included. And you could look at the spec sheets all day, but what we saw here at the airstrip today surprised both of us.
Kase, I cannot think of a better day than having the latest and the greatest turbo diesel heavy duties duking it out at the drag strip.
That's right, and for our first race, it's going to be the new 6.7 Cummins with the new ZF 8-speed transmission up against you and the company Duramax.
Oh yeah, and these 2 trucks are really well matched to get against each other because they're both off-road versions, Trail Boss versus Heavy Duty Rebel, and
they have all-terrain tires, they have 4 doors,
they have 4-wheel drive systems and similar equipment.
Here's the interesting thing though, even though your Chevy Silverado 2500 there is actually a little bit longer than this HD Rebel Cummins that I'm in, my Rebel is a little bit heavier.
Yeah, isn't that something? I mean, there's about almost 200 pounds heavier. The Ram is about 200 pounds heavier.
Now in trucks that weigh over 8,000 pounds, that 200 pounds is not a massive difference, but it still is going to factor just a little bit.
I know you have a new transmission, but you're going to be sad because I have more horsepower. So how about this? Should we just run them?
I got 100 more torques, Andre, so let's see what they do. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, a lot of wheel spin.
Wow, a lot of spin.
Oh, that extra torque, not necessarily helpful off the line.
It's hard to manage. We're running them in 2-wheel drive, traction control disabled, and this is one of the best ways that I found that we can run them.
Oh, come on. There's nothing I can do. He's just pulling away from me.
We're using draggy GPS devices.
What are you doing? Were you in 2-wheel drive and traction control disabled as well?
Yeah, like we discussed, I had my truck configured the same way that you've got your Silverado configured as. And I think the extra torque, if anything, just gave me some extra wheel spin off the line, which is of course not super helpful. And then your Silverado being a little bit lighter, somehow, and also having some more horsepower through every single gear, you were just walking away from me. Wasn't even that close.
So my data says, first of all, it's verified based on that this dragway, this airstrip is level. My 0 to 60 is 7.41 and my quarter mile is 15.41.
Yeah, my 0 to 60 was 8.27 and my quarter mile was 16.12. So half a second slower in the quarter mile than that Silverado. Even if I jumped you on the launch and cheated it a little bit, I don't think that this truck would have what it takes. Now, one thing that I think is worth checking out is doing a 30-mile-per-hour roll race between these 2 trucks, because that will take a little bit of the launch out of the equation, and what we can do there is test how these 2 transmissions downshift and how these trucks get on a boost by comparison.
Heck yeah, let's do the rolling race right now.
Now the most recently updated of these 3 powertrains is this, the 6.7 Cummins, that they've updated in a few ways, and now the power output, 430 horsepower, 1,075 pound-feet of torque, but that's not the newest thing about it.
No, this is really the star of this video because it also has the latest and new for this truck transmission. It's a ZF Powerline. It's 8-speed transmission, and it has a new rear axle ratio for this diesel setup with an 8-speed, which is a 342-1. And yes, they improved the air intake on this engine, the exhaust system, the emission system. Now it doesn't have the grid heater anymore. It's got glow plugs. So this is kind of the star of this show.
And there is a reason why we're not launching them in four-wheel drive. It's because, yes, you can get a much better start, but some of these heavy-duty four-wheel drive systems actually add a lot of drag, so it kind of slows you down at the top end of the quarter mile. And also, it's kind of hard on those transfer cases as well.
Plus, most people typically drive around in two-wheel drive. They probably don't drive around with the traction control off like we have right now, but that being said, it's potentially a little more relevant to how most people have their trucks configured.
All right, so what do you say? Do you want to count us off? This is going to be 30 miles an hour, even start, and then we punch them when you say so.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll quickly get up to 30 mile an hour, get nose to nose, and I'll count us 3, 2, 1, go. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, wow, really slow response there.
I punched it.
From the comments, I'm kind of surprised. I put my foot down, and there was a business day between when the pedal hit the ground and when the truck actually reacted.
Seems like this Duramax is still walking away from the Ram. But he's close.
He's gaining on Andre a little bit there at the end, but he might have been letting off.
Wow, dude, it seemed like this Allison kicked down fairly quickly, and this 10-speed started working.
Yeah, I gotta say, trying not to cheat it at all, so I waited until I said go to actually put the pedal to the floor rather than kind of preempting it a little bit and getting it to downshift before then. And I gotta say, when you throw your foot down to the floor in this truck, it takes a little while for that transmission to kick down and react.
Alrighty, well, there's another truck you can jump into.
I've got a quick truck I can put up against that Chevy. Of course, buying a brand new truck is a major investment, and if you want to protect that investment for years to come, make sure you check out Grainger Warranties. These folks are a huge leading provider of factory-backed extended warranties that can help you protect everything on your truck, from the powertrain to the electronics and more. Check out the link for Grainger Warranties below.
On the flip side, we're very familiar with this engine, right?
Yeah, it's been around for a little while. This is the 6.6 Duramax. 470 horsepower, so pretty healthy.
Yeah.
975 pound-feet of torque, which of these three is actually the least.
Exactly, and it does have a 10-speed automatic transmission. They call it Allison branded because General Motors and Allison work together to certify it. And this truck also has a 342-1 rear axle ratio. So actually, it's matched up pretty closely.
Yeah, it's the same as the Ram, which is kind of cool.
Do you have any sport mode by chance in your on your dial?
No, I've got eco, towing, normal, slippery, off-road, and rock crawl.
How about you put it in rock crawl mode, see what happens?
Something tells me that's not going to be, four low, locker engaged, maybe not the mode.
All right, dude, so I don't have any sport modes either in the Duramax. So now it's Duramax, the latest 2025 engine versus the latest high output Power Stroke.
And at the sound of that high output, are you shaking in your boots? 500 horsepower, Andre?
Well, I have 470, plus I'm about 100 pounds lighter in this Duramax than that truck.
Yeah, but 1,200 pound-feet of torque, Andre. You haven't even crossed the 1,000 pound-feet of torque mark. I don't know how that truck gets out of the driveway in the morning.
All right, lining up. The latest Trail Boss versus Super Duty Tremor. So another quite good matchup because that's an off-road version of the Super Duty.
Okay, so I was just saying that your off-road edition of your F-250 is also an off-road truck, the Tremor, but your tires are slightly larger than the ones on this Trail Boss.
That's true. The trims of these trucks do line up pretty well. They're all those mild off-road trims, in addition to being the most powerful diesel options that you can get from all three. So I think that they actually line up pretty well, which is nice. And yeah, 35s here on the Tremor is a pretty big tire, but I've got the torque to turn them.
All right, let's see what happens.
Building this.
Oh, I was asleep at the switch a little bit there on the launch. Andre definitely launched better than I did.
Oh, I spun him.
Oh, we might have to redo that.
Maybe he spun him too much? Let's see if he can come back.
I'm surprised I'm not really pulling on him any.
No, Duramax! I don't know if that was a good start.
I gotta say, I was asleep at the switch there on the launch. That was not my best launch, but I was kind of surprised. I wasn't really pulling on you any.
Let's try it again. I mean, I think it's worth getting a really good start. What do you think?
Oh, I think so too. We gotta give this 6.7 high output a fair shake, and yeah, I would think that it should be able to pull on there. I mean, it's not like from the driver's seat there's a ton that you can do other than once you launch it, just keep your foot planted. It's an automatic. It's not like I've got any bearing over how it shifts.
Or maybe Duramax is king, you know?
Powering the Ford is the high output 6.7 Power Stroke. So this is not the regular 475 horsepower Power Stroke. This is the 500 horsepower version of this truck with 1,200 pound-feet of torque.
Yes, this engine bay is very busy. There's a lot going on. Maybe it may be the fullest engine bay.
Definitely.
And it does have a 10-speed automatic heavy-duty transmission, just like the Chevy over there. But Ford says, well, basically, they design their engine themselves, and they design the transmission themselves, and the rear axle ratio in this truck is a 355:1, so a tiny bit more aggressive.
Yeah, but really not far off of the other two.
Yeah.
Okay, my traction control is disabled. My truck is pretty happy.
Building boost on the launch. It is launching me in first gear.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, pretty good start. I spun him.
Come on. I'm foot to the floor. I should be able to beat Andre. I've got more power. What's going on?
Whoa, that's close.
Why am I not pulling on him? They're just neck and neck.
And now, what happens to the Duramax? It's so freaking close! Duramax wins!
That's weird. That's very weird to me. Do you want to switch trucks and see if it's something I'm doing?
No, dude, I think it was pretty clear. We were, like, neck and neck, and it seemed like...
The acceleration was equal. We need to look at our numbers though. I'm showing a 15.46 quarter mile on my draggy, and...
Yeah, you said 15.2?
Yeah, well, my bad launch lost the race, but my fastest quarter was 15.25, so according to the draggy, the truck did it quicker.
Okay, now we're doing rolling race. Wow, that Ford transmission maybe is a fraction quicker.
Pretty quick response to going pedal down in the Ford. It is pulling on him a little bit in this race. It's interesting.
I may have fallen asleep by a fraction of a second there, but it seems like your transmission was very quick.
Well, compared to the Cummins that I was racing in first, yeah, this truck responded much quicker to me going hard pedal down. So definitely pretty impressive there in the Ford, and it did feel like it was freight training ahead of the Duramax there. What do you think of doing one bonus race between these two quicker trucks in four-wheel drive? You up for it?
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? Yeah.
But there's another element to all three of these trucks, right?
Well, we've got to do a rev battle because that's just as important as drag racing, which a lot of folks out there would say it's not important at all in these trucks, but it's something that we're interested in because we're very childish.
Yes, and also, I mean, it should be manly, big truck.
It's got to sound good.
Well, are we gonna agree on anything today?
If we agree that the Ram sounds the best.
I think we do agree.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all three of these sound pretty manly.
Yeah.
But there's something about the Cummins, especially when you're driving it as well. And today launching it, it was like twisting and like, it was like an animal trying to like escape.
Well, to your point, when you're driving down the road, especially if you've pulling a trailer behind you and that exhaust brake kicks on, sounds really good in the Cummins. But it's amazing just how quiet diesels have gotten now in these current generations.
Exactly, especially the V8s.
My Duramax is locked and loaded in four-wheel drive.
Yeah, same here. I am four-wheel drive, traction control still off. Let's see, if nothing else, what the difference is in our fastest quarters, whether they're quicker or slower in four-wheel drive.
3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa! It pulls pretty hard off the line there.
Wow. Something happened to the Ford.
But wow, even beating Andre off the line, there's a moment accelerating initially here in the Ford where it seems to pull boost.
He jumped a little bit and then slowed down.
And it doesn't want to keep up with the Chevy. That's really interesting because I jumped him a little on the start there and kept my foot to the floor the whole time, and it just doesn't want to continue accelerating.
So it's interesting. I almost feel like
At some point, when you're accelerating in some of the lower gears here in the Ford, that it pulls power.
So this is also interesting. I'm looking at my data. My 0 to 60 was 7.15 at a mile above sea level once again, which is my best time. And also 15.17 quarter mile.
Here, the Power Stroke did a 15.44 in the quarter, so it was just a little bit slower than its quickest time. I'm really surprised at how evenly matched these two trucks are, because on paper, this Power Stroke should be much quicker, but it feels like there's only so much of that power it's willing to put down with the electronics and the traction control system. Even with the traction control switched off, it feels like it's still boost limiting per gear.
Well, there could be multiple factors going on, and we don't have the Ford engineers here to tell us everything, but it may be that it was considering to protect your transfer case. Maybe it was, I mean, we're not running hot. I think all of our temperatures are in check, but maybe it was trying to protect a certain element of your truck.
Definitely a surprising result, and interesting nonetheless.
All right, here I am. Four-wheel drive, tow haul mode in the Cummins. Let's see if I can get... The whole truck is rocking. All right, let's see. No, that wasn't a really good result. I could try one more without tow haul mode. Because what happens in tow haul mode in this new Cummins with an 8-speed is it starts in tow haul mode in first gear and in normal mode, normal driving mode in second gear. But it seemed like it was kind of a little bit busy there. So what I think I will do is do another launch, but this time four-wheel drive with normal mode. That seemed nice and even in normal mode, starting in second gear. That was 16.06 quarter mile, and 0 to 60 in 8.2. So it's still about the same in the Cummins, two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive high. Okay, so we decided that one person does every braking test one by one, so it's the same driver behaving the same way instead of different drivers. Here's the Ram Cummins braking test from 60 to 0, 60 miles an hour to 0. Here I am, and okay, that was basically a panic stop ABS. Wow. That was the Duramax stopping test. Oh. Wow. Okay. That's close. Well, here are the results for our braking test between these three diesels. Kase, come on down. So Kase has got our the stick of justice. Is that what we call it?
Truth.
The stick of truth. So basically a measuring device, a wheel that gives us distance. And by the way, I'm only human, so whether I was at 60 or 61 miles an hour, I tried to be equal for everything using the speedometer, but I am still a human. And here's the distance.
So your front wheel here is at 110 feet 6 inches from 60 mile an hour.
Okay, well that's quite impressive actually for a heavy diesel. But these tires, all three of them have all-terrain tires that are very grippy.
Yeah, I would say so. This is really pretty much in line with a lot of even passenger cars that we've tested. It's not the best number we've ever seen, but for a vehicle this size, it's really not bad.
Yeah, about 8,300 pounds.
Yeah.
Now from the hub here on the Chevy to the center of the wheel on the Ram, it looks like we've got about 4 feet 5 inches difference. So the Chevy did better to the tune of about 106 feet stopping distance, which is again really impressive. And finally, the number for your power stroke there, Andre. This was almost exactly 6 feet further than the Chevy, so a little bit worse than the Ram, but not by much. Again, these trucks are all stopping distance very close.
Yeah, and I think one of the factors, like we said before, is that the Ford has larger diameter tires slightly, which means more rolling mass, right? So that might be a little bit harder to stop as far as the Ford is concerned.
Yeah, but surprisingly close once again.
So can we actually crown the winner? I mean, technically using the GPS data, Duramax was top dog.
That's true. So its 4-wheel drive time was the fastest time that we recorded today. The quickest 2-wheel drive quarter mile that we recorded was in the Ford.
Yes.
It's tough because the two trucks are tenths off. So that's, again, I would say within a margin of error.
Yeah.
So
it could be a tie.
Hard to say.
It could be a tie,
Very
really.
close.
Unfortunately, the comments wasn't quite as quick. I mean, it's an improvement where it was before.
Yeah.
I think, but it's still not, a V8 speed truck beater.
Yeah, it's about a full second off in the quarter mile of the fastest times that we got from the other two, so it definitely doesn't quite compete with the Ford and the Chevy.
All right, but what about options and pricing? Because all three manufacturers actually offer several levels of off-road capable heavy-duty pickup trucks, and the Ram Rebel with a gas engine starts at just over $70,000.
Yep.
And of course, you can go up from there. The diesel Rebel heavy duty starts at $83,000.
Yeah.
And that's basically where we start with this truck.
So it's pricey.
It's pricey. Now, Chevrolet and General Motors, well, specifically Chevy, the gasoline powered V8 Trail Boss heavy duty starts at $65,200, which is actually, comparatively speaking, a better deal.
Yeah, at least versus the other options here.
Yeah, the diesel Trail Boss starts at $75,000, but GM also offers gas and diesel ZR2 trucks.
Right.
Which go to about $83K as well.
Yeah, so you can get a more aggressive off-road package, but the Trail Boss in particular does seem to be so far a bit of the budget option. And it's true when you look at the features between all these, the Chevy has a lot fewer of those luxury features and big sunroofs and everything that the other two have.
Exactly. And finally, Ford also offers several options, and Ford Tremor can be had as an F250 or F350. The Ram and GM don't do 3500 off-road level trucks. And the gasoline-powered 7.3 liter Tremor F250 starts at about almost 64 grand. So kind of comparable to the Trail Boss.
Yeah.
And the diesel high-output Tremor starts at 75.8, almost 76 grand. Once again, seems to be like a pretty good deal. And if you're looking for that budget truck, there's still a 2025 Ram Tradesman Power Wagon package. That's also starts at about 64 grand, which is very comparable where the Tremor starts and a little bit below the Trail Boss. So if you're looking for that secret sauce truck for off-roading in heavy duty segment, the Power Wagon could be it.
So from the sound of it, if you're looking for a simple answer, there isn't one. This is a very complicated comparison here.
Well, because that's what heavy-duty trucks and trucks in general are, a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Because you can get different axle ratios, and that's why we still have jobs.
Yeah, that's why we keep doing these videos.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know what we did wrong, as always, right?
Yeah, I might have benefited from a little less boost off the launch.
No, always more boost, right?
Yeah, maybe not.
All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.